Hello there.
Build 42 has arrived for Project Zomboid, and with it comes a whole host of game-changing new features. But amongst all the fantastic things coming to Build 42, and believe me, there's a lot of them, one in particular caught my eye. The Sanatorium. This place looked great, and I wanted to check it out. But more than that, I wanted to clear it. I wanted to conquer it. But to do that, we needed a hero. Step forward, Dick Long. Welcome to my first foray into Build 42, and this is Survivor the Sanatorium. Dick Long wakes up in a small home in the quaint little town of Riverside. He rummages through the kitchen looking for any food or weapons, and then, taking advantage of a great new feature, he takes down a curtain and crafts a makeshift cloth bag. Dick cautiously opens the door and, having a look around, is relieved to be relatively alone. I continue to search the home and, not really finding anything of note, it was time to move on. Just outside the home is a car parked in the driveway. Dick, with hope in his heart, checks the vehicle for keys, but it's locked. No luck. He had to move on. I needed the basics, the holy quartet: food, water, tools, and weapons. So Dick heads out on the hunt. Almost immediately, he finds himself face to face with his first zombie. A digital watch. Perfect. It's 10 a.m. I head for the nearest home. I force my way in. No alarm. That was lucky. I desperately search the home for any kind of weapon, but no luck. There's nothing here. Dick needed to push on. I spy another zombie and I head on over, taking care of business. Another one that quickly becomes two, but that's okay. Dick is ready for the fight. I see another one slowly making his way up. Oh fuck. I turn and flee. I strategically retreat to the house and jump inside. One zombie follows and I close the window on the second. Big brain plays. Martha can only watch from outside as I give her mate the heal treatment. I then let Martha in and she too feels the heal. Elite gameplay. I go to jump out the window but close the window instead. Elite gameplay. Regrouping, I jump back out the window. More dead come. It seems that in this new build, noise carries much further. Killing one zombie seems to bring many. Dick finds a shed and makes his way inside. And yes, finally a weapon, a steel rod. Dick finds a fleshlight and some knee pads, but the undead have arrived. I go to jump out the window, but close it instead. Elite gameplay. A tire iron on the ground. More ways to kill the undead. I loot another home, some tools, some food. A shed provides more weapons. Another steel rod. A wrench. But I'm over encumbered. I head back to my safe house to drop off loot and update my map. If this is to be Dick's home for the next few days, the dead would have to be removed. With home base secured, Dick knew to get to the sanatorium he would need a car. So I head out and I stumble upon a church parking lot. I needed to get lucky by finding some car keys because my mechanic skills are non-existent, so hot wiring any cars is a no-go. Striking out of the church, I headed south and I come across a large abandoned parking lot. There are quite a few of the undead milling around, but I need to clear it to be free to check the cars. With the undead dispatched, I check every car with no luck. The ambulance is my last chance. I jump inside and the key is in the ignition and she even has a little gas. Finally, some luck. Dick is mobile. I take a drive into Riverside to gather intel, but the gas station is crawling with the undead. So I cut my losses and I head back to the neighbourhood. As the sun goes down on day one of Dick's adventure, we get our first look at the new lighting system in Build 42. Just came. Back home, and even my safe house is pitch black without turning the lights on. This will make looting at night far more scary and far more dangerous. But with the Holy Quartet secured and even a working vehicle in the driveway, it had been a successful first day. Dick wakes up at 3:30 a.m. Taking the wakeful trait might have been a mistake, as taking a look outside and it was still pitch black. Today, Dick needed to breach into the Nails and Nuts tool store in Riverside because taking on the sanatorium without any decent weapons was a surefire way to a quick death. So, we got on the move, but starting my day this early meant it gave us another chance to check out all the new lighting in Build 42. On the way, Dick pulls over to clear a few zombies at the burger joint, and I quickly realise that fighting in the dark now without a flashlight is most probably going to lead to a quick death. Evasive manoeuvres are needed as Dick loops around the burger shop to create some space so that he can dispatch them one by one. It was a perfect way to kill some time whilst the sun started to rise. We were gonna need daylight if we were to fight our way into Nails and Nuts. With the sun finally rising, Dick beelined it for the tool store. Jesus H. Christ. The centre of town was packed with the undead. There were way too many to take on. Dick needed a new plan and decided to retreat and then loop south and into the neighbourhood in an attempt to come in on foot. Dick loots a small home and finds a golf club and some boxing headgear, perfect for fighting zombies. Checking his map, the plan had worked. Dick had positioned himself just south of Nails and Nuts, with just a neighbourhood fence between himself and his target. Then, whilst cleaning up some stragglers, fuck. Dick's been bitten. Fighting off the shock of knowing his life was now on borrowed time, he just kept going. His brain sort of switched into autopilot. Kill the zombies, get over the fence, loot the tool store, make it to the sanatorium. If he kept his mind busy and stuck to his plan, he could perhaps ignore the inevitability of his bleak and short future. Dick snuck inside Nails and Nuts. He needed any good weapons he could find. A hammer, an iron pipe, a pipe wrench, and one glorious garden fork. Then, Dick discovered a basement. Finding his courage, he descended into the dark, flashlight in hand. Luckily, the basement was deserted, but to Dick's disappointment, no great weapons were found in the darkness. Knowing he was now on borrowed time, Dick decided to cut his losses and head back for home. He had breached the tool store and he'd looted it. His mission was a success, but it had come at great cost. I make it home, and with no time to spare, I start to load up the ambulance with anything I might need to breach into the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Not knowing how far away the sanatorium actually was, and with the gas station completely overrun with the undead, Dick remembers a car in the church parking lot that had a full tank of gas. So, with an empty bottle and a small hose in hand, I start to siphon as much gas as I can into the ambulance. With supplies packed, fuel sorted, and daylight fading, we jumped in our ride and headed west on the desperate search for the sanatorium. Exhausted, Dick's mind started to wander as he drove down the abandoned streets. He could feel the fever slowly gripping him, inching its way to the surface. He grabbed his wallet and pulled out a picture of his fiancée, Peggy. Just days before the outbreak, Peggy had travelled to New York to visit her mother. The infection spread quickly out of Knox County, and it hit New York City particularly hard. Just the sheer amount of people, it was like a tidal wave. Eventually, the military bombed the bridges, trying to contain the virus to Manhattan. A few days later, the bombs fell in Manhattan too. Zombies, humans, it didn't seem to matter anymore. The panic was visceral. Dick liked to think that Peggy somehow got out and that she was out there, somewhere, surviving, alive. But in the pit of his stomach, he knew she was gone, and he knew that he would soon see her again. Putting the picture back in his wallet, tears falling down his cheeks, his emotions turned from a deep melancholy to that of unbridled anger. Dick would make it inside the sanatorium. He would make it to the top. He would kill as many as he could, or he would die trying. After a while on the road, Dick comes across a rather large building just off the main road. We needed to investigate, so we pull in and drive around the big complex. Dick has no idea what this place is, but one thing is for sure, this isn't the sanatorium. Feeling unhappy, stressed, in a fair amount of pain, and with hypothermia creeping in, Dick knew he didn't have much time. Heading back out to the main road, I continued to push west. Dick grew weary behind the wheel, the stress of the day finally getting to him. With the road abandoned and no sign of the undead, Dick comes to a halt in the middle of the road, and taking some painkillers, he passes out into an uneasy sleep. Dick wakes at 11 p.m. He's managed about 3 hours sleep in the cold, uncomfortable driver's seat of his beaten-up ambulance. He woke up a little alarmed, agitated and sad, and he was almost at his breaking point. His hands trembling, he gripped the steering wheel, knowing that he had to push on into the darkness. Going by gut feeling alone, Dick drove west, and stumbling upon some train tracks and then a crossroads, he felt he was getting close. Turning south at the crossroads, and Dick comes across some kind of small guardhouse. This must be it. This must be the entrance to the sanatorium. As Dick slowly drove his ambulance down the abandoned road, in the distance, a hulking shadow began to emerge from the void. The building was enormous, its jagged edges illuminated faintly by the moonlight peeking through the clouds. Its silhouette dominated the horizon. Its spires reached upward like broken teeth, and its facade was cloaked in ivy and shadow. Windows, dark and vacant, stared out like hollow eyes, and the faint outline of weathered stone gave the impression of a place long abandoned to time. As Dick drew closer, the car's engine seemed louder, the gravel crunching beneath the tires, echoing unnaturally in the stillness. The air was heavy, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and rot. Every instinct told Dick to turn back, but the fever had gripped him. His purpose clear, he pulled into the car park and he shut off the engine. Dick hops out of his car, and with his flashlight equipped and his heart racing, he makes his way over to the sanatorium. But as Dick approaches the rear of the building, he sees an open doorway which leads inside, and then the dead start to emerge. Forced back into the parking lot, Dick fights with everything he's got and eventually manages to clear the undead. Exhausted and with it still being pitch black, Dick jumps back inside his ambulance and risks sleeping in his car, hoping that tomorrow the sunlight will give him renewed hope. Dick wakes up feeling queasy, miserable, in a lot of pain, and nearing his breaking point. The fever has well and truly set in. With not much time left, he jumped out of the car for another attempt at breaching the sanatorium, and with his garden fork equipped, he gets to work. Then, disaster. The garden fork breaks, so he fights on with the handle. But no luck, they just keep coming. Quickly realising that he has drawn far too many and is terribly outnumbered, Dick switches tactics and tries to herd them together to make a break for the safety of his ambulance. Making it inside, he has a sudden realisation. He's sitting inside the best weapon he has. So, Dick puts the pedal to the metal. Well, actually, he slowly and methodically backs up over the zombie, protecting his engine and slaughtering hers. Whilst this new tactic was effective, the noise Dick was creating just meant more and more of the undead kept pouring out of the sanatorium, and the ambulance would only hold up for so long. So Dick makes the decision to abandon the south side of the building and make a go for the front entrance. Hopefully, the other side of the building would be a little well, fuck. Turns out the entrance is even worse. This place is hell. Retreating to safety, Dick rests his aching muscles, eats some food, and tends to his wounds. With the rear of the building a little too busy and the front entrance completely fucked, perhaps the quieter east side was the play. Hopping back into his ambulance, and Dick heads on over to the east side entrance. Jumping out of the whip, and there's just a couple of zombies milling around. But as I approach the entrance, more and more and more spill out of the sanatorium. I try to herd them together and make a break for the entrance, but every time I dive for the doorway, more appear, blocking the way. Frustrated, after several plays for the opening, Dick whips out his gun and fires in vain into the horde, missing all of his shots. These new gun mechanics are going to take some getting used to. The gunfire just attracted more. Dick heads for the safety of his ambulance, but suddenly the door looks clear. This was it. I was heading in. Nope. Turned away again. I gotta get back to the ambulance. South, north, east, no good. Well, west it is. Driving back around to the west side and parking up, there was a double doors opening that looked clear. Dick mustered up all his courage and made a dive for the entrance. He'd done it. Dick was inside. By some miracle, Dick makes it out. Unbelievable. Breathing the cool fresh air again, counting his lucky stars, Dick heads back to the safety of his ambulance. In an almost defiant fuck you to the dead, he turns and fires more pointless rounds into the ever-growing horde. Dick regroups and making another lap of the building, he looks for any way in, but the place is now crawling with the undead. Having gathered intel from his first run, maybe he can get to the stairs and get up to the upper floors. Perhaps it's clear up there. Maybe all the dead have filtered down to the lower floors. As Dick drove around the sanatorium, he could feel the fever burning through his veins. A relentless heat, that sapped his strength and clouded his thoughts. Each breath felt heavier, like you were dragging air through a filter of molten lead. Dick's vision wavers at the edges, tunneling into a narrow focus on the building ahead, its shattered windows and sagging doorways like jagged teeth waiting to consume you. Dick's bite wound throbs, a cruel reminder of the clock ticking down. Every ache in his body screams for rest, but you know there's no time left for weakness. Not for Dick. The faint buzz of flies and the distant groans of the undead create a grim symphony, pulling you forward as if it's your last audience to face. Dick clenches the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles whitening. Courage wasn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear coil around your heart and stepping forward anyway. This wasn't just about surviving anymore, it's about meaning, defiance. If Dick was going out, it won't be cowering in some corner. His fingers trembled as he swings open the car door, the stench of the decay washing over him like a wave. And then he sees them. Shapes moving in the dim light, shadows becoming monsters. Dick's fevered mind felt strangely detached, almost floating. A surreal clarity descends, and for the first time, Dick felt ready. The door is open. The time is now. Dick thrusts inside the gaping hole. So, the sanatorium's fucked. If you enjoyed Dick's adventure to the sanatorium, then you also might enjoy my new Discord. Come and join in and talk all things Project Zomboid, and also tell me all your deepest and darkest secrets. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, and if you haven't already, maybe subscribe to the channel. I'll leave you guys with some of my favourite comments from my last video. Some absolute bangers. Well, that's all I've got for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.